Wes FOGDEN with me, looking ahead to Saturday's big playoff game against Dartford. Wes obviously been back the last few weeks. How's that been?
Yeah, it's just good to be back after such a long period out, 4 months. It's just nice to be back around the boys and everyone training and working hard.
And I suppose it must be weird because going back into pre-season, we kind of slowly go into a season. It's a one-game season potentially Saturday. It's make or break against Dartford.
Yeah, definitely. It's got a strange feel about it. I mean, obviously it's going to be behind closed doors, which again is strange in itself. But we know as a squad, it's a semi-final, and we've got to create our own atmosphere, really work hard.
I suppose having watched the Premier League, Championship, lower leagues, what he played behind closed doors, is it advantage that you kind of sort of know what you're walking into? Okay, it'll feel weird on the day, but you've seen the experience of people doing it, whereas we're not the first people to do it.
Yeah, maybe. I think it's still going to be a strange experience to happen live for ourselves. Like you say, you do get a little experience, a taster of what it's been like in the Premiership and down. But like I say, we've got to create our own atmosphere and push, because we know it's a semi-final, one-game shootout.
Will it feel weird because it is a big game and there's no crowd? Because in most circumstances, a player semi-final like this will probably have 4,000 here. There'll be 60 people, including media and players here.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, a game of such magnitude, you get a lot of people, like you say, and obviously the home advantage kind of is lost. Obviously, we come second and got ourselves into a good position, and we're kind of expecting potentially for a fans sellout maybe here at the Wesley. But yeah, like you say, it's going to be strange, but we need to adapt to that.
Fitness-wise, do you feel up to it, or is there a frustration? Because obviously with lockdown, you can't go to a gym, you can only go out for an exercise once an hour a day. Does it feel like you're up to your scratch, or do you feel like there's a little bit of frustration because, okay, it's out of your hands, but you could just be that little bit fitter?
Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, I've watched a lot of football since it's returned, and kind of even the Premiership, those first few games, you can tell that the players weren't quite as fit and as sharp as what they were before, and it does take time, especially after such a long period out. And like you say, with the gyms and lifting weights, it kind of gives you that power and strength, whereas now you haven't been able to do it. So there is obviously going to be an element of needing to regain fitness, but we can only do as best as we can.
How you found the protocols? Obviously we're stood 2 metres apart, tested with temperatures every morning, got to fill out questionnaires on your health, and obviously get your tests every Thursday. How have you found that? Because it's a weird environment to do your business in.
Yeah, definitely. I think the first couple of times that you come in, it's really strange. You kind of rock up and you expect things to kind of be normal in the same environment, but things have changed, and it needs to be done, and now it's almost become normality that this happens, and credit the club for sorting it all out.
And finally, what would be your message to the fans? Obviously they can't be here in person on Saturday, although the first few flags and that are being draped up around the ground. What would be your message to them watching on?
Just hopefully that we can do the job for them. They've supported us all season, and I know it would be strange for them watching at home, but we will give it our all, knowing that they are watching, and hopefully we can progress.
Wes, thank you.
Cheers.
Josh Taylor joins me ahead of Saturday's game against Dartford, playoff semi-final. It must be weird because the first game back is a game of such importance.
Yeah, I mean, it's strange when you think about it. It's been 4.5 months now since our last competitive game. So obviously usually you get 7 or 8 weeks off and long pre-season, 6 or 7 pre-season friendlies, you're back into it. So yeah, it's going to be strange, but you know, massive games, we've got to be on it from the get-go.
How weird has it been, the training going into this? Because usually when you have such a long layoff and you go back into training, you have a couple of pre-season games and you slowly go into a season, but you've known that first game is a make or break game.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, as I said, it's been such a long layoff. When you come back, although you want to be putting 100% into every session because you know you've got that game at the end, you do have to sort of ease back into it again. But that's it. Everyone's been on it every session, knowing that we've got to make every session count, and you know, you're working towards the end goal. So hopefully 2 massive games. Obviously, take care of Saturday first, and then see where we go. You know.
Was that a lot of motivation during lockdown when you had that period? Obviously, we didn't know what was happening, that we may have to come back and play matches. Was that something that kind of spurred you on during that weird COVID period?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was very unknown for a long time. So it was, it's tough to say, oh, we were motivated for this game because we didn't know we were going to do the playoffs until a few weeks ago. So we obviously had that motivation to keep going, keep ticking over, stay fit, because we knew there was a chance of we might have these massive games at the end of the season. So yeah, that was a driving factor to keep the boys ticking over.
Have you found the new training regime? Because obviously there's so many new protocols in place. Obviously testing every week. You've got temperature checks when you come in. You've got health questionnaires. How have you found that change? There's so much that's been so different over the last few weeks compared to how we're used to having it.
Yeah, I could do without the testing every week, to be honest. I'm not getting used to that up the nose yet still. But other than that, obviously, yeah, we've got to be careful with certain things, bits and pieces, but now it's just second nature. We've been doing it for 2 or 3 weeks. It's just become the norm now, and the boys have been coping with it well, and yeah, it's been going fine.
Another one of these so-called new normals is the behind closed doors element. And we've never been used to anything like this. We've never experienced anything like this in a game of this magnitude. Have you watched other games to see how they've dealt with it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I was watching all the Premier League stuff when it comes back, and then you can definitely notice that sort of lack of atmosphere, lack of intensity maybe on the pitch, sort of the pace of the game. So that's something we got to adjust to. We've got to take that part of it out of it. Obviously, it's gutting that all the Havant fans can't be in here, but hopefully as many of them we're going to watch on that stream as possible. And as I said, we've just got to try and adapt to that and just try and keep our intensity as high as it was, as if the Wesley was packed out.
Is it about generating your own atmosphere on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the game's big enough for us that we shouldn't need that crowd. So everyone's going to be bang up for it, and I'm sure the intensity is going to be high anyway.
Josh, thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Top man, Ennis.
Thanks, Elliot. Joining me to look ahead to Saturday's game against Dartford, Simon Walton. For a first game back, it's quite a big one.
Yeah. Normally we've had our mini pre-season. Normally when you've had a mini pre-season, you build into it gently. But yeah, straight back into it. But it is what it is. Listen, there's no point keep going on about a scenario or situations around it. It is what it is. Every team in the playoffs has got to deal with it, and we've prepared as best as we can. Everything's gone, touch wood, to plan. Everyone's fit, which is again a massive bonus for any club coming back into this sort of situation. So again, we're not using it as an excuse. It's a one-off again, all around the world, not just here. It's a unique situation. So we've prepared as best as we can, and we'll be ready come Saturday.
How have you and the lads found the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, it's been. I think, like you say, when you come back to pre-season, it takes you a couple of weeks, well, more than a couple of weeks, depending on age, etc., to get into the swing of it. So yeah, I mean, we didn't expect miracles straight away, but to be fair to all the lads, like I said, everyone's come back fit, everyone's ready and raring to go, and it's a credit that they've kept themselves in reasonable shape. And like I said, our preparation has been as good as we could have expected, and we'll be ready to go. And like I said, it's going to be strange. It's going to be strange for everyone, but there's enough experience and people and characters in our dressing room amongst the players and staff to not let the things around the game really influence us.
And we can't really underplay how tough a game it is on Saturday against Dartford. They're the form team going into lockdown, beat Slough 3-0 away, which we know is some achievement. They're going to go in it with a lot of confidence, having played a competitive game as well. So they all fancy themselves, we'll fancy ourselves. It's two confident teams going head to head.
Yeah, I mean, you can look at it either way. They've had a proper game, a competitive game to find their feet. 3-0 victory away from home, any level in any game's massive. We all watched the game. I've watched it twice. Like I said, preparation. You've got to do these things. We know their strengths. We know their weaknesses. But yeah, credit to them. Like you say, I think they've been on probably the best run since maybe just before Christmas. Obviously, they were down the wrong end of the table, and towards the end of the season, they seem to get stronger and stronger. And again, we're confident. We know that on our day, we finished second in this league. We finished second in this league for a reason. There's still 8 games left. What would have happened, nobody knows. But yeah, maybe the Fordham team, but like I said, we finished second in this league for a reason, and with the squad and group of players that we've got and how we've been looking, we're more than confident going into this game, but at the same time we're experienced enough and not stupid enough to underplay it or underestimate any team in this league at this stage.
How quickly have the lads got to adapt to the behind closed door element? Because Dartford have now had that competitive game behind closed doors. They've won that competitive game behind closed doors. They all know what it's like going into this game. We won't.
Yeah, again, like I say, you can look at it either way. They've had a game, so they may not be as fresh. Also, like we're now playing on a 3G surface. It was a warm day. It may have taken it out of them. They may have a few injuries, a few knocks. So you can look at it either way. They've played the scenario. They know what it's going to be like. They've had experience of a behind closed doors game. But let's be honest, it's not like we're used to playing in front of 50, 60,000 people. Let's not overplay it at the same time. We played Barnet here in a friendly, which was a great exercise for both clubs. I mean, obviously it worked well for them in their playoff games, so hopefully it works well for us. But again, we're not using excuses. It's 11v11. You can make a couple of extra subs. I think that's the only difference. So again, we're not going to overplay it. It's going to be different, but it's going to be different for both teams. And we've had training games that have been as competitive as any game we've played this season out there the last couple of weeks. I mean, I'm sure you've seen them, so we're prepared for it. We know we're not naive. Like I said, we've got plenty of experience and legs and youth in our squad, which you need. But yeah, there's enough, what shall I say, intelligent heads out there that know the situation, and we know we're going to have to make our own atmosphere, but we'll be all right.
Finally, what's your message to the fans? Obviously, they can't physically be here in person. They'll be watching in pubs or in their front rooms or back gardens, wherever they can watch the stream. What would be your message to them for Saturday?
Hopefully enjoy it, like they seem to have done most of the games this season. Obviously, and it goes without saying, we would rather them be here. Home advantage, obviously, with, I think, I just spoke to Mr. Chairman, he would have expected 3,500 to 4,000 people, which obviously would have been a different kettle of fish. But again, their support all season, to be fair, has played a massive part in getting us to where we are. So hopefully on Saturday we can get the right result for them, and then we go again the next week. But like I say, it's one game at a time, so hopefully they stay at home, stay sensible, but enjoy the day, and they'll only enjoy it if we win, as we will. So hopefully come 5 o'clock, 5:15, they'll have had a couple of beers in the sun or rain. I think it's going to rain Saturday, but yeah, hopefully they'll be smiling like they have been most of this season.
They'll have a couple of beers, that's for sure. Simon, thank you very much.